So if there was one team this season that I had to pick was the most surprising, I would hands down pick the Seattle Kraken. Now you may think, oh no, Nordic, it's the Devils or the Jets or the Stars. No, it's the Seattle Kraken. This team is in their second season and they've made basically no changes to the team that they had last year, apart from adding Andre Burakovsky and Martin Jones. Just take a look at their season this time last year. They were 11-23-4 by January 18th, and this year they are 26-13-4 for 52 points. They have 159 goals scored and 134 goals against. They are 8-2-0 in their last 10, and they are second in the Pacific. That is going from basically a bottom-feeding team to a playoff team. And it's just remarkable how they could turn from that into this with more or less just like the same roster. Like, this is basically the same team that they had in their inaugural season, and most of them came from the expansion draft. It felt like the Kraken's mentality was kind of just improve this team over the years and kind of build towards what they are right now. However, this season, with a lot of the players, chemistry really is high, and I think it's definitely helped them to be really good now. And that is why, in my opinion, this team should just forget about trying to, get better in future years. They should try to just win now with the team that they have. However, they do have some holes, and that's why in trade deadline, they likely will try and fill up those holes, but this team is good. For example, I think a defenseman would definitely help this team. Although they have some nice blue liners, which we'll get into a little bit later, a defenseman would definitely help this team in getting over, I don't want to say the hump, but helping them take that next step. And that is why we're not going to waste any more time into getting into forwards leading the charge, as they have some really good offensive players who have actually put up a lot of goals. Strangely though, not a lot of shots. When you look into the advanced analytics, they're towards the bottom in most shots per game, but they actually have the most high danger chances and the most goals scored on high danger chances as well. So they may not get an absolute crap ton of shots. However, they're going to score on the shots that they do get, so they have pretty good accuracy. And another thing, too, with this team is there's not really one bona fide scorer who is scoring at a higher pace above everybody else, like Connor McDavid, for example. It's really all at the same level, and that kind of goes to show that this team is built relatively well. You start off with Andre Burakovsky, one of the very few newly acquired players this past offseason, and this year he's done a really good job at helping this team. So far, he has 12 goals, 24 assists for 36 points in just 42 games played. Another player is Matty Beniers, who was obviously drafted in the Kraken's first ever draft, was obviously also their first ever draft pick, and he was looked at to be that next star player for the Seattle Kraken and help them in the next couple of years, and this season he's done a very good job. He is tied with Andre Burakovsky with 17 goals, 19 assists for 36 points, and leads the Calder race, and let's face it, he likely will win it. It also kind of goes to show how wide open the 2020-21 draft was, mainly because of it was like the year after the COVID, and a lot of player seasons were canceled, so the scouts really didn't have a lot to work with, but I think the Kraken got a pretty good pull here in Matty Beniers. Obviously, rookie Shane Wright has not really panned out to the level that the Kraken hoped him to be in his first season. Obviously, he is now in the CHL, so obviously he's playing in juniors. He didn't really pan out at the NHL level, so the Kraken sent him there to kind of a stint and try and get him back to the level that he was prior to COVID. Another player who has played exceptionally well is Jared McCann, who actually has a lot of goals, and I think leads the Kraken in goals as well, with 22 goals, 8 assists for 30 points in 42 games played. He has shot the puck a lot. I also want to give honorable mentions to Jordan Eberle, Daniel Sprong, Yanni Gourde, and Eli Tolvanen as well, who have also been pretty good forwards so far this season with the Seattle Kraken. Obviously, Tolvanen is one of those newly acquired forwards, but he's actually been doing a pretty good job in his first couple of games with the Kraken. Now, moving on here to the Blue Line X Factors. Obviously, when you look at this team, there really isn't any eye-opening blue liners, really, because a lot of this team's success has really come through their offense. I'm not going to lie, later on when we get into the backbone or the goalie stats, you're going to see that 100%, mainly because the goalie stats also aren't too wide opening. You do ever have some notable defenders such as Vince Dunn. He came over from the St. Louis Blues. I think I talked about him in the last Kraken video I made last season, but I'm talking about him again. He's been solid offensively for the Kraken as he has 8 goals, 24 assists for 32 points, definitely assisting a lot of the goals. And another blue liner as well is Adam Larsson, who came from the Edmonton Oilers and is playing pretty solid in his second season with the Kraken as he has 4 goals, 13 assists for 17 points. Obviously, what I said earlier in the video is definitely true. I think the Kraken may need to look at getting a blue liner heading into this year's trade deadline. That may be something they want to get because really when you look at this team, there's no eye-opening blue liners, but no disrespect to Vince Dunn or Adam Larsson. Now moving on to the backbone, we have a goalie here who has really kind of rejuvenated himself with the Seattle Kraken. Obviously, he struggled the past couple of years with the Flyers and the San Jose Sharks, but Martin Jones has looked really good this season. Jones has a 21-5-3 record with a 2.76 goals against average and a .895 save percentage. Obviously, those stats aren't like top of the charts great, but they are still fairly solid. And I kind of think the weak defensive numbers on the Kraken blue line has definitely taken a toll on Martin Jones' stats, as well as Philip Grubauer, but many people think he's just a bad goalie. Now, to wrap up this video, one of the questions that a lot of NHL fans are asking themselves is, are the Kraken, like, actually legit? Is this run that they're on, is this great season actually legit? And I'm going to say no. People may disagree with that. However, when it comes playoffs, and they're likely going to make the playoffs, but when it comes playoffs, if they're playing a team like, let's say, Colorado or Calgary or some team like that, are they really going to do any damage? Don't get me wrong. This was a great step for this team, and they definitely have a lot of key offensive pieces, which will help them moving forward. However, I just don't think they're there yet. Once Shane Wright develops, they get some other pretty solid prospects, and they get another additional blue liner, maybe this team will be in a better spot, but as of right now, I'm going to say no. But that shouldn't take away from the absolute entertaining season that they've had so far. And honestly, I hope I'm wrong. But anyways, that'll do it for this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you all very much for watching. Fred's Pros, I really do appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe down below if you're new. And anyways, thank you all very much for watching. And I will see you guys in the next video. Adios.